are we here?
Your Honor, we're here on the state's petition to establish the parent-child relationship. And let me grab the DNA as well.
I want to make sure he's dad.
Yes, sir. And I would also like to offer this as State's Exhibit A, Your Honor.
Okay, I was going to ask you to screen down a little bit. Child's name is Tristan.
Yes, sir.
And how old is he?
She's 1.
She's 1. Female child?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that the only child of this relationship?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, I'm looking here at the test results. Not excluded. Probability of paternity is 99.99999%. Okay. All right, then. So noted the DNA test results showing that the alleged father, Brennan Hall, is the father of the child, Tristan Woolridge. Go ahead, counselor. And and I'm admitting state's exhibit. This state's exhibit A. Is that what you called it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. I'm admitting. Well, before I do that, hang on, Miss Miller. You've seen this DNA test results that's been marked as State's Exhibit A. Do you have any objection to me admitting this exhibit into evidence?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, then. State's Exhibit A is admitted into evidence. And counselor, I would ask that you attach a copy of that. If it's not already attached to the petition, that you attach a copy of State's Exhibit A to the final order. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. May I stop sharing?
Yes, you may.
May I call my first witness, Your Honor?
Yes, you sure can.
State calls Miss Keandre Miller. Miss Miller, could you state your name one more time?
Keandre Miller.
Miss Miller, what is the name of the child that you share with Mr. Brennan Hall?
Tristan Lee Miller Woolridge.
And is it true that you would like to ask for a name change for that child?
Yes, sir.
And what name would you like the child to be known as?
I would like to drop the Woolridge and add Hall, so that'd put it at Tristan Lee Miller Hall.
And can you spell that out?
The full name?
Yes,
please.
the whole name.
Okay. Tristynn Lee Leigh Miller Miller Hall Hall.
Thank you, ma'am. What is your current relationship with Mr. Brennan Hall?
He's just a child. I mean, the father to my child.
Were you guys, did you ever live together?
Yes.
And when did you separate?
October 31st.
Of last year?
Yes, of 2024.
Thank you. What was the circumstances of your separation?
I felt like my child was in harm's because he would watch her, but he also make like little sly comments of like, come get her, I'm gonna leave her here. Or like when he has her now, or when he recently had her, he would tell me come get her, or he's gonna leave her there with his four and 5-year-old nephews. And like he makes like little threats towards me, and like he talks about his child. So to me, that's like putting your child in harm's way.
Has there been an incident recently between you and him?
Yes, he's currently incarcerated because 2 days ago he came to my apartment and he busted my window. And my neighbors seen him, and when I got home, they had alerted me about it. But he also sent threats to my phone early that morning as well from like different fake numbers.
What kind of threats?
He was telling me he was going to come to my house and I better hope I'm not there. And he'd also tell me he was going to beat me up. By the time he got to my house, I wasn't even there anyway. I was gone.
Now, you said incarcerated. Is that jail or prison?
He's in jail down in Victoria.
Okay. And what's the bond?
I want to say his bond is 10,000, but I'm pretty sure it'll probably be out because I think they take off like 10%, so it should be like 1,000.
What was the date that this took place?
I want to say it was Tuesday, the 6th, May the 6th.
Okay. So when it comes to visitation, what is your ideal visitation between your child and Mr. Hall?
I really wouldn't prefer visitation, but I mean, since that is his child, I'm fine with however y'all put the visitation. Like, if he has to get her, like, because it's court ordered, I would like him to follow, like, the court ordered rules. Like, I'd have to get her back by, like, a certain time. Because I know, like, y'all do it. I mean, maybe it's different, but I know some people, like, they drop him off by, like, Friday at 6. They pick him up Sundays. But me, honestly, I wouldn't prefer her to, like, stay with him.
So you wouldn't want any overnight visitation?
Me personally, no. But I mean, if that's what it has to be, then I guess that's fine. As long as the overnight stays are at his mom's.
Do you
Let me
feel as
interrupt.
though,
Excuse me, Counselor. Let me interrupt. Maybe I can save a little time here. If you don't mind, Counselor.
of course, of course.
Ms. Miller, can you hear me okay? I'm Judge
Yes, sir.
Glenville Bronca. Can you
I
hear me
hear
okay?
I
Okay.
hear you.
I kind of am following what you're saying. And basically, in my mind, you have two options, okay? One option is to say, okay, well, what do y'all usually do? And what we usually do is we follow a standard possession. We can set it up for a standard possession order, SPO. And a standard possession order would give Mr. Hall extensive time with your child, weekends, holidays, a month in the summer. Of course, this child's only a year old. So the standard possession order does not automatically apply when a child is under the age of 3. So when you're thinking, well, I know y'all are going to do that, I guess I'm okay with it. I'm trying to explain to you, no, ma'am, we're not automatically going to do that. We don't have to do that at this point in time. Even if he was a perfect dad, a great dad, and a caring and attentive dad, and a nonviolent dad, even if he was all of those things, there would still be a question because of the child's tender age of age 1, as to whether or not we would be looking at a standard possession order. So that's what you think is going to happen. And I know everybody hears about them and sees these first, third, and fifth weekends and stuff like that. Eventually, hopefully, that's where y'all end up, because that would mean that if y'all end up there, that means he's become growing up a lot and being a better dad. Okay. The other option is to simply say visitation is going to be whatever you agree to, Miss Miller. Okay. Because that's basically where you start to go. You said, well, I'm okay with an overnight as long as it's at his mom's. In other words, there are reasons why you have concerns. You just put on evidence about him, about how he's threatened to leave the child alone and threatened to leave the child with minor siblings or cousins, and that are very much underage and not where it wouldn't be a good, safe place. And so you talked about that. So that's neglect he's shown in his past. All right. And then you talked about why he's in jail and the fact that he busted your windows and he called and made threats to you to beat you up and stuff. So there's violence issues. All right. All of those are good reasons why I am not inclined to give him regular visitation at this point in time. I realize you said, well, it'd be good if we had some rules. Well, the rules will be you determine when, where, and how he sees the child. As he starts to mature and take better care of your daughter, you can loosen up and say, okay, now I'm going to let you keep her overnights. Now I'm going to let you keep her at your mom's. Now I'm going to let you take her to your house. Now I'm going to let you go out of town with her. Okay. But for right now, because of the concerns that I now have based on your testimony, I can tell you that where I'm leaning right now is just to say, I'm not going to put visitation under standard possession order right now. I'm simply going to put visitation where it's what you agreed to, when you agreed to it, how long you agreed to it, where you agreed to it. Do you understand where I'm going with this, Ms. Miller?
Yes, I understand.
In other words, you're a responsible parent with a 1-year-old little girl, and you're going to protect her. And I can hear that. I got that from your testimony. So I can tell you already where I'm headed with this, and that's why I was trying to save some time here. not inclined to give this guy a standing possession order because that would give him all kind of rights and powers and ability to be with this child that I don't think he's earned. And quite honestly, I don't think it's in the best interest of the child at this point. So you have legitimate concerns. Later, he has a right to come back and file to modify it and ask for a standing possession order if he can show evidence that that is warranted. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm not going to do him any favors at this point in time when he hasn't earned it. In fact, I have concerns. The other thing is, and I know you haven't gone there yet, Mr. Schaefer, but I would be inclined because of his history and because of the violence, the threats of violence, to name you sole managed conservator and name him possessory conservator so that you have more rights and more exclusive rights like that he would not have because again, I have concerns about him being a joint managed conservator at this time. And it's mainly the part about the neglect, I probably would not have leaned to away from a joint managed conservatorship. But when you tell me, no, he's made threats of violence and you better not be there when I get there and I'm gonna beat you up and broke the windows and stuff like that. And no, that violence, that in my mind establishes what I need to say, I'm gonna be inclined to name it where you are sole managed conservator and he is simply a possessory conservator. Do you understand, Ms. Miller?
Yes, sir.
Which means you will have a lot more rights, a lot more exclusive rights, and a lot more control. And until something happens to warrant otherwise, that's where I am right now. So, Mr. Schaefer, did I save you some time? I hope.
You sure did, Your Honor.
Okay, because I'm already telling you where I'm going based on the evidence I've heard so far. So, yeah, I get where you're trying to go, and I was just trying to get there in front of you and say, we're okay. Go ahead, but you can go ahead and fill in the blanks as you see fit, Mr. Schaefer. I'm not trying to tell you how to try your case.
Those, for the record, those were the state's recommendations as well on those two
Okay.
issues.
All right, all right. Go ahead with your questions.
Thank you, sir. Miss Miller, how is the child currently covered by health insurance?
She's currently on Medicaid.
Do you have health insurance available to you at a reasonable cost?
I could put her on my. I think I actually have all three of my kids on my benefits at my job, but she also has Medicaid as well.
So she's covered by health insurance at your job?
By me, I think she's on my. If I am correct, I think she's on my health insurance at my job because I know for sure my other two are, but that's because they don't have Medicaid. My other two don't.
Okay. What is the cost of your health insurance through your work?
I'm honestly not sure, but I know they take out like $300 for all my benefits in total.
But the child is currently on Medicaid?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where does Mr. Hall work?
He works at Sonic in Victoria.
Okay.
On John Stockbar Lane. John Stockbar Road, I think.
And do you know how much his hourly wage is?
I honestly do not, but I know he works 6 days out of a week, 3 to 11.
And he is capable of work?
Yes.
Okay.
For right now, but he had said if he does go on child support, he's gonna quit his job.
Does he have any passive income you're aware of? That's
no.
Oil well or book royalty, trust?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
And are you requesting a non-disclosure of your personal information, your name, your address, your phone number, your email? Would you like those things to remain private for your safety?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe that is in the best interest of the child as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe if Mr. Hall had access to that information that he would use it to do you harm?
Yes.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Where do you work at, ma'am?
I work in Weimar at Etex Industries.
What is that?
We make like rubber.
Okay, all right, okay. And you said you have two other children?
Yes, sir.
How old are they?
They're 4 and 3.
Okay, all right. Are you married, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you receive support for the other two children?
That dad does not, he's not on there, but he does pay. Well, when I look on our thing, last time I went to court, he pays to state for Medicaid. But I don't think he has a job right now, so I don't even think that he's even paying that.
He's the father of both of those children,
Yes, sir.
and you're not currently living with him?
No.
Okay, okay. I'm just trying to get your dynamics of your
Yes,
home.
we're not together.
Okay, all right. So you've got a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations. They're all blessings. Yeah. So, and do you work at least 40 hours a week?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right. Do you have, okay, you said you're not sure what Mr. Hall makes in his job. Counselor, did I miss a question, or have you asked for an amount of child support or a certain amount? 'Cause I didn't hear any evidence about that.
I asked about minimum wage. I was going to make the state recommendation in my summation. She's unsure what his income is, and the state doesn't have any income for him. So my request was going to be for a minimum wage order.
Okay.
I'm working the numbers out though, Your Honor, because I need to correct something as far as health insurance.
Okay. All right. Ms. Miller, can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Does Mr. Hall have any other children?
No, sir.
Okay, okay, good. Okay, and you stated that y'all actually lived together for a while?
We did.
Okay,
We did he got out in August of last year, 2024. So he stayed with me till October. It was only like a couple of months. And I ended up moving to Victoria.
okay,
It was violent. It was like domestic violence, basically. Like we were fighting every day. So eventually we were gonna split up. But I was
right,
trying to make it work for our kids. But like how he would send threats and stuff, he would send me like videos of her crying and her bouncer whenever he'd have to watch her. So I knew it was not going to last.
okay, all right, okay. And you stated that he works at Sonic. Is he a cook or what does he do? Do you know?
I'm honestly not sure. I just know he works at Sonic.
Okay, but you stated that if they do withholding or child support, you think he's gonna quit his job so he doesn't have to pay something.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
Okay, well, that's a threat he's made then. Okay, all right, ma'am. Okay, do you have anything else you want to tell the court, tell me at this time?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay, ma'am. All right. Do you have any other witnesses you would like to call at this time?
No, sir.
Okay. So you pretty much stated your position as to where you are on this. And you're asking me to rule per the request of the state. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other witnesses for this. I'm sorry, I don't have any other questions for this witness this time. Counselor, do you have any other witnesses?
I don't, sir, just a summation.
Okay, go ahead and do your summation.
Your Honor, due to the positive DNA test results, the state is seeking to establish Mr. Brennan Hall as the father of Tristan Woolridge is his current name. The state is requesting that that name be changed to Tristan Lee Miller Hall. The state is seeking sole managing conservatorship with Miss Keandre Miller as the conservator and Mr. Brennan Hall as the possessory conservator only. The state is asking that there be no geographic restriction on Miss Keandre Hall. And the state is seeking that visitation be by agreement only, meaning that Miss Keandre Miller will determine the child's how long, where, duration, and location. The state is also asking, since there is, the state is seeking that health insurance be cash medical of $75 per month. And according to Miss Miller's testimony, she has health insurance for her and her other children, but not for this child. So if this child is taken off of the health insurance they currently have through the state, it will transfer to her health. So the $75 per month will be transferred to her. The state is seeking a minimum wage child support order for Mr. Brennan Hall, since we do not have any evidence of his job. We just know he is capable of working. So the state is asking for $216 per month. Both the health insurance or the medical support and child support will begin on the 1st of June, 2025. There is no request for retroactive child support. The state is asking for a non-disclosure of all Miss Miller's personal information as well as the child's personal information. The state asks that all court costs be assessed against Mr. Hall.
Okay, is that it, Counselor?
State rests, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I do find I have jurisdiction of this case, and I do believe that the relief requested by the state and as supported by the testimony of Ms. Miller is in the best interest of the child. And so per that, my ruling is, and my findings are as follows. I do find that Brennan Hall is the father of the child, Tristan, and that I have heard it. I'm basing that on the evidence, testimony of the party, and State's Exhibit A, the DNA test result, which has been admitted into evidence. So I'm finding he is the father of that child. And I'm establishing that parent-child relationship with the child. I am going to change the child's name per the request of Mrs. Miller. Child's name will be changed to Tristan Lee Miller Hall. I'm going to, because of the testimony, I find that there has been violence and history of violence in the past and potentially in the future. And so therefore, I'm going to name Mrs. Miller as sole managed conservator of this child. And I'm going to name Brennan Hall as possessor conservator. There'll be no geographic restriction on Miss Miller. That means, ma'am, you can live wherever you need to live, okay, with the children. As far as visitation terms go, I do not believe it warrants a standard possession order at this time because of his history of violence and his threats. And so therefore, the only visitation that Mr. Hall will have will be whatever is agreed to by Mrs. Miller. What that means is Mrs. Miller, Keandre Miller, is the total keeper of the gate. She will determine when he gets to see the child, how long he gets to see the child, what the conditions and terms and conditions will be. In other words, well, you can have her, as an example, she might say, I'll let you take him if your mom is there. And if I see that your mom is there. And over time, if Mr. Hall does well and stops showing propensities for violence and starts showing more evidence that he can properly care for the child and not neglect the child, over time, if Ms. Miller wants to give him more time and overnights and weekends and holidays, that's going to be all totally up to you, Ms. Miller. You're going to make that call. I'm giving you that, and that is a legally binding order. Okay, in other words, by agreement is legally binding, which means if you don't agree, it don't happen. Okay. Now I'm with you that it would be nice to have set times, but at this point in time, because of your concerns about the safety of your child, we can't give this man set times right now. Okay. That would, I think that wouldn't be in the best interest of your daughter. That would possibly endanger your daughter. So I'm going to make it totally within your purview to decide when, where, how, and what conditions, and, you know, like whether y'all would meet in a public place, whether you would exchange at the police station. You determine you make all the rules, okay? Because Mr. Hall has the right to come back and try to get those rules changed at this time. But right now, you make all the rules. So he has a right to come back to court if it's needed. As sole managed conservator, you will have the exclusive right to determine the child's residence, to receive the child support, to receive cash medical, to make all the school decisions for the child, to make all the medical decisions for the child. Those will all be your exclusive rights, and you will have sole power to do that. I'm going to go ahead and set child support based on the evidence. I'm going to set a minimum wage standard of $216 a month, beginning June 1st, 2025. That's what Mr. Hall is ordered to pay you. He's also ordered to pay cash medical of $75 a month, starting June 1st, 2025. And directing the state to do a withholding order, send it to the Sonic or wherever he's working. Sometimes they say, well, if I have to pay support, I'll quit, and then they don't. But so I'm not going to let his threat deter us from going after the child support. Okay, you need help, and you're a hardworking mom, so with young children, so you need that help. So we're going to get that child support ordered at that amount. And if in the future, ma'am, you find out that he's making better than minimum wage jobs, you have the right to come back and ask the Attorney General to file to change and increase the child support. Do you understand, Ms. Miller?
Yes, sir.
Okay, at this time, we just don't have any evidence of anything else of what he's making. And again, I am finding that he is the father. I'm not ordering any retro child support, and I am ordering Mr. Hall to pay court costs. And again, I do believe that my ruling is in the best interest of the child. Also, I am going to agree that there should be a non-disclosure clause in the order because of his propensity for violence in the past, threats in the past. So the non-disclosure clause will be included in the order. Mr. Schaefer, did I miss anything?
No, sir.
Okay, Ms. Miller, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Are you satisfied with my ruling?
I'm satisfied.
Okay, ma'am. Well, hopefully this will put some rules in place, and it's a good idea to have the rules in place. And I also want to congratulate you for raising 3 good children, and tell you that it was a really good idea to do the DNA test. I mean, you probably know better than anybody whether or not he was the dad, and so the DNA test was not because of questions about who you were with at the time you got pregnant. The DNA test, where it comes in, and I highly encourage it, is even if you're gut sure, dead sure he's the father, reason for the DNA test, in my opinion, what really helps is, sadly, what some people will do in the future when they get angry, a father will look at you and say, I don't even know if he's mine. And worse, will say it right, or I don't even know if she's my child. And worse, say it right in front of your daughter. Okay. And you get to look back at him and go, oh, we did test. You are dad. Okay. So you eliminate him from being able to use that weapon against you to try to claim, well, I'm not even sure that's my daughter. You understand?
Yes.
So I highly encourage, I'm glad you did the DNA test. It also helps to establish that he is the father without a question. All right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, so if you don't have anything else, I'm going to excuse you to Mr. Schaefer and let him finish up with you. Mr. Schaefer will get me an order, and he'll ask you to sign off on it and by DocuSign. And then once he gets it to me, I'll sign off on it. And it's rendered today, but we are done in court now. Okay?
Okay.
Mr. Schaefer, anything else?
No, Your Honor, I think I should have this one done today.
Okay, Mr. Schaefer, that's fine. I'm not going to set it for an entry date then. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and excuse y'all, and we're going to now go off the record. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.